He doesn't actually have very useful skills. If you want to make an orate to kind of soften the blow on the crowd there.
I mean, I have nothing in orate. Anyone else?
It sounds like you were the one orating, though. You literally were the one telling people things.
Where's Aurelius?
Mm-hmm.
What? Aurelius would be able to orate this.
I won't make a roll.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the peasants are just upset. They don't really understand what's going on. They're just trying to do what they've been told their whole lives, and you don't remove anything of terrible value from them, but you do take some of their stuff that could be used in a siege, and they are rather upset. Now, after a few hours of this, you do come upon a woman with a green shawl who does appear to match the description of the healer woman.
Excuse me.
Yes? Hello? She turns around, you can see her eyes are kind of like mostly blind. Who's there?
Sir Sasha of Salisbury.
What's that? Speak up! Sir Pasha of Dowsbury?
Sasha. But,
Dasha, got it!
I hear your contend wounds.
Oh! You want some tents? Okay! Yep. My granddaughter can make them.
I hear you can tend wounds.
Alright, I heard you the first time. I'm just messing with you, sir.
Ow.
So she's just like, well, now, just... You got anybody in that caravan of yours that could make a fire or something useful? We're gonna need to be at this all night.
All night. Is it near the end of the travel?
Yeah, it's toward dusk. She's like,
So,
yeah, all night.
maybe camp.
Set up a camp. Get some fire. We're gonna need boiling water and some clean bandages. It's gonna cost you.
Yeah, we'll do it. Make the orders to make camp, etc.
What's
Watch.
What's your fee?
She's like, we'll talk about the fee afterwards. Here's what's important. She, like, gives you guys a list of various ingredients. She's like, now this looks like a green trefoil. It's kind of fuzzy. You can find it in the woods just about over there. You want some of this as well? And some of this? So, if you want to gather some things to help improve Sir Sasha's condition, you can either make an awareness or fairy lore check as you head out into the forest.
I guess I'll make an awareness. It's not going to be good, but hopefully, if everyone makes it.
You get a fumble and you find the wrong thing, think it's the right thing. You bring it in.
You murder Sir Sasha with your poison plant. The old lady and just lets it happen. So who is making the check?
Figured everyone would be searching.
Well, then everyone can make a roll.
Is the old lady still with me, or is the old lady searching as
The
well?
old lady is with you, yes.
I will insist on asking what the fee is up front.
Okay, she's like, yeah, a wound like this, 15 denaries.
Oh, success.
Tell you what, for the considerations, I'll give her 20 denaries.
She's like, oh, mighty kind of you. Well,
Up
that
front.
means I won't poison you in the night then. I'm just kidding. Here, have some tea.
I hesitate for a moment, but I'll drink the tea.
Okay, you fall asleep. Okay, yeah.
So I will bring back the items.
Yep. Corin, you ride around in the woods until it gets really dark, and then your squires insist it's time to come back. Adewald, you come back with the proper plants. When you come back, Sir Sasha is unconscious with like like literally leaning back in his armor with like a cup of tea stuck like this on his face. And she's like, well, you had those plants right here. I'm just going to muddle them up, make them into a paste, and slap it on his armor. He'll be just fine.
All right. Well, hand it over.
Okay. Yeah, you get Kyra's read. She had an 18.
Excellent. So we'll do that, and I guess we'll head off to the rest of the way to Uffington in the morning.
Yeah, she works throughout the night. Can everyone make an awareness check if she rides toward Uffington in the morning? Well, she doesn't ride, she walks, so you guys will pass her.
Everybody?
Yeah. Yeah, why not? Oh, you guys are super bad at awareness.
All these 18s. I'll make another Dobbin character someday.
Do we lose Anosh again? I feel like he got home to play and then immediately fell over
he's there.
asleep. Oh, he's there? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Sir Alec Default. As the old lady, you know, as you guys get out of hearing range, you hear her say, charged him double. Easiest money I ever made.
A few dinars are well worth being courage read.
Lord Knight, sir. So he tells them what she said.
Yeah. I mean, he already paid her.
I would have easily
triple.
given her more.
He gave her 4 times what she asked for. So
Yeah.
I gave her 5 more than she asked for,
Yeah.
but then she asked for more than. Yeah, anyway.
So, you make it to the outskirts of Uffington, and it looks kind of like the worst siege camp you've ever seen. There are hundreds and hundreds of peasants forming like small refugee villages outside of the city, which is already outside of range of the castle. And just generally, the fields are all muddy, they're mucked up, there's just like shit everywhere, literal feces, garbage and refuse is just blowing around. There seems to be absolutely no organization. And there are very few guards or men of arms of any kind. There's fights all over the place. But the walls of Uffington do seem to be quite well like kept. The walls are all nicely washed down. You do see men with bows patrolling the top. What would you like to do? And obviously you can see Uffington Castle a few miles behind Uffington on a mountainside overlooking the city.
I guess we will head to... So we have the knights from Ridichan, so
Yep.
they will presumably be recognized by the guards. So I guess we will go to present ourselves to whatever the authority is in the area. So we'll head to the castle.
Okay. All right. You ride on the castle. You are challenged as you approach, and Sir Pestis answers on your behalf, informing that you have sworn oaths to the Countess Ridichan, the Countess Bledy. As you get closer to the castle, it becomes apparent that the castle itself has very few knights left, but there are a lot of mercenaries there. A lot of knifemen, lots of Irishmen with bows. There's many people with like personalized siege gear. You know, like ladders for climbing or ropes for climbing or some sort of like flaming shot. You spot several hundred mercenaries as you approach, and all of them are like on the long, thin road up the winding path that's, you know, dangerously high. So it's like, you know, a sheer cliff on either side of this path that if you fall off, kind of like Helm's Deep, but, you know, a few miles long.
All right.
And as you walk through, you know, they're lined up along the side of the road in their camps. All of these men turn to watch you as you ride up. And when you reach the top, the castle commander comes down and says, I am Sir Selmus. commander of the garrison. I must inform you that the Countess is here, but she will not speak with you.
Why? Has she stated a reason?
She has not. You are to be given quarters, and lodging, and food, and you may attend the feast tonight, and the strategy sessions, but she will not meet with you until after that point.
Oh, so we will be able to meet her at some point then.
So his eyes slide sideways to you and says, "Perhaps. I have my orders."
Very well. We will take quarters and consult with you when we at the strategy session later.
Just let her know the Knights of Salisbury support her. With
And also, please inform her that Sir Bay and we have slain Sir Bay and Sir Bellius.
So he raises an eyebrow at that and then pulls off his helmet and says, "Truly, is it so?" And Sir Pestis says, Indeed, Sir Selmus, it is true. They have slewn them in single combat. 'Twas a duel indeed. Unfortunately, Sir Basil is still alive." And Sir Selmus says, "Oh, 'tis a fairly bad day. Sir Basil will surely set the city to flame." "Well, my lords, at least 2/3 of them have been taken out. All we need to do is kill the final one. Please, if you will come with me, I will have my men see to your horses, and my women see to your equipment. We shall find you quarters. Will you not sit at the high table with me tonight, noble lords of Salisbury?"
I gladly accept your invitation, sir.
Right. So, after a few hours of settling in and rest and, like cleaning yourself off from the journey, you have dinner, but instead of having it in a feast hall, they have it in the strategy room, and they set out your food in front of, maps of the county. Sir Salmus explains, he says, "Lords of Salisbury, I realize that this may not be what you are used to, but in times of war, men of Ridichan prepare to sit only at a table of victory. We do not feast in the traditional manner until all blood has been spilled. Will you join me at this table?" And he indicates a map of Oxford and Oxford Castle.
Indicate
Of course.
acceptance.
Yeah.
So, they set down some dishes, including, a dish of basil. And he sticks, a spoon into it and says, "Shall you have any basil for your meal, gentlemen? Perhaps I should spill it all over your dishes." And then he's like, "No, that wasn't a good joke at all." And then he just starts, placing, salt and pepper shakers, along where archers would be on the walls of the castle, and he's like, "Well, as long as we're here, we might as well have a discussion. How did you find Oxford Castle?" And he's doing this as he's eating a turkey leg. Delicious.
So we will report regarding sort of the number of knights and men-at-arms, sort of the state of the castle, and
Can't say how
sort of
many
the
peasants
general
they'll have,
amount
though.
we saw of siege equipment.
Okay. So he turns to you and says, "Who among you leads these knights then?"
I did during the initial fight, though depending on how long before we enact the siege, I'm not sure I'll be fit for the next one.
"Well, as long as we are here in strategy session, should you not lead here as well?"
I have
As
been
well-
taking over in the meantime as he has been recovering, but I will gladly yield my place to him.
So Sir Selmus raises an eyebrow and is like, "This is, well, Knights of Salisbury."
So I'll step back and let Sir Sasha take over.
So
Rather than
Sasha,
having-
what is your plan for the upcoming siege? It sounds to me, and from my reports from Sir Pestis, that you had some kind of plan in place.
My knights were initially discussing the idea of trying to take from the manors, but it seems that one has fallen through as nobody is at those manors, right?
So
They're
he
come
looks
here with
confused
us,
at you
or
and says,
Oxford?
I understand you've never been on a raiding party before, have you?
No, it's not really something I take part in.
Well, think of your own manors. There is much wealth there. You surely have vases of things, supplies of money. While the peasantry may be hiding behind the walls, you could still raid the manors for what do they call it nowadays? The plunder.
Siege funds.
Back in my days, we just called it loot.
We just call it siege funds.
Siege funds. Very well. Whatever the slang of the vernacular of the children is. But before we digress, what
Of the
is
children. You Jove.
what is your plan for the reciprocity towards Oxford? You wish to hit the manors of all of the knights in attendance at Oxford while they're undefended.
Just the knights that were supporting Belial and
Yes, indeed.
Basil, Belial,
Yes.
whatever. Or the-
Um,
all of them.
so, I believe...
All of the de
It will-
Wallingford family, of course. Well, from what it sounds like, there's only 25 knights left supporting him, so that would be roughly 25 to 30 manors, perhaps.
Indeed. And then, I believe if I understood Sir Sasha's discussions earlier, we were to use the funds we obtained from those raids in order to construct sufficient siege equipment to take down the buildings in Oxford. We also had hoped to consult with your officers and perhaps the Countess to see if you had any knowledge of weaknesses in the walls or passages that might be exploited in such a siege.
So, as you say that, there's been serving women in and out all night, but the same one has been serving the high table. And when you say that, the man turns and nods to her, and she takes off her, like she has some sort of fancy headdress, and she says, I am the Countess Ridichan. I apologize for my part in this deception, but I merely wish to ascertain that you are true knights, and not impostors from Oxford. But having heard of your part in the slaying of the de Wallingford brothers, I present myself now. And she gives you a curtsy. She's wearing like a very humble, like a handmaiden's red dress that's clearly, maybe a size or two too small for her. Got long gray hair. Looks very distinguished. Kind of like Judi Dench.
Please, my lady. My name is Sir Sasha. I'm sure you've heard that already.
Yes, of course. I've been kept awares. My servants have been reporting on your discussions all night.
Formal introductions are probably in order anyway.
Of course.
So, Adewald will make sort of the deep bow that would be appropriate to one of her rank.
She nods. She says, I see knights of Salisbury are very courteous, but already I knew you were true knights and that you would defend a woman's claim over a man's. A true claim, that is.
A true claim, not necessarily a woman's claim.
Indeed, sir.
Gender plays no role here.
You'll always...
How many knights of Salisbury can I expect from my cousin, the Countess Ellen?
Let's see, at the time being, we have 25 that we are able to deploy.
Remember that the 10 of those are from Sir Pestis and his...
Oh, so
contingent.
15 we have available currently.
She says, only 15 knights. Is this what Salisbury sends to aid Ridichan? Sir Selmus steps forward and says, not to interrupt, my lady, but deliberations here were going in a certain direction. You speak of siege equipment, but we have no such specialists here. I would have to travel to London to find one.
I have brought a specialist in my employ. As long as we have the necessary funds and materiel, we should be able to make the necessary construction.
So, Sir Selmus bangs his fist on the table and says, Excelsior! And then he reaches out to give you the Predator handshake. He's like, Sir, You are prepared for war indeed. What was your name again?
Sir Adewald, sir.
They call you the Virtuous, do they not, Sir Adewald?
I have been known by that appellation.
I have heard of... What was Aurelius? He was your brother?
Yes, my brother.
He says, I have heard of your brother. He was as great a battle commander as I suspect you one day will be. And the Countess, like, rolls her eyes at all this and says, if we can get back to the matter, yes, there is a secret tunnel, not into Oxford itself, but it travels into the castle. If we were to launch a distracting attack at the walls of Oxford, we could send a band of knights underneath the city and into the castle to take it from within.
Milady, we are more than willing to undertake that challenge on your behalf.
You understand that I could not let you go alone. Some knights of Ridichan, in fact many, must be present in order to take it specifically for Ridichan. It is not that I don't trust you, but it is the way things are done. However, I would not be against allowing you to lead the van.
Seems
I
fair
duly
enough.
understand, my lady.
And Sir Selmus looks very impressed. Can all of you mark that you take a point of honor?
So
And he like takes off his gauntlets and like gets on the ground with his sword and like bows before you, and everyone in the room does too. And he says, "Good knights, that you would volunteer to lead the vanguard against the tunnel, where the fighting will undoubtedly be the bloodiest. Truly, the knights of Salisbury are archangels sent from God to cleanse the befoulers of this land." Then he raises his glass and everyone's like, "Yeah! Bitchin'!" Or some other culturally acceptable epitaph of this time period.
It won't be the first time I've drawn blood. Oh.
Wow. Have you drawn?
So Sir Selma says, let's get down to specifics. Do you have any more knights that you could call upon from Salisbury? Every
from my
little bit could
mother's.
count.
Perhaps we could put out a call to arms for those that are not among our kin.
I could, depending on the timing, I don't know when my other three knights were to
They're
complete
off
their-
on the quest with Sir Marcus to
Okay,
analyze...
so sadly I do not have any more available. I have brought my full contingent.
Same.
But we can send back to the Countess to inquire whether she is willing to dispatch more. Beyond those sworn to us specifically.
What was his name again? I should probably have written that one down. Boop, boop, boo, doo, boo.
Who were you thinking about?
The knight who rode on Sir Benim. What was his name?
You're
Sir
not
Alan. Yeah, it was
Sir
Sir
Alan?
Alan. The one that had there was questions as to his honor.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember the guy they were riding against, but not the guy they were riding with. Okay, so
By
you
the way,
want to
sort of
send-
random aside, but I did appreciate the Dune reference last week.
Oh yeah, of course. You want to send someone to Salisbury to gather knights and have them come back.
Sort of as a recruiter to see if anybody else is interested in coming and supporting the
Okay.
Countess.
Are you calling
Ridichan.
up any of your family knights or extended knights?
Do we have any of those?
Sure. I mean, you have like your old family knights and your young family knights. They would be part of your levy, the not peasant part. You might already be riding with all of them.
I would have called them up in my levy
Okay.
as a levy. So they would be here. So because I basically called everyone except for my peasant levy.
Okay. So you called all the knights who live in your manors plus everyone who works for your family?
Mm-hmm.
Already? Okay. Right, so there's no one else you can call for. You're just basically sending out a message to be like, hey, anyone who wants adventure, wants to help somebody out.
So basically, we're calling the people who aren't sworn to us. To see
Are any of the rest of you calling up knights that you may not have tapped yet?
I already have all my
Yeah,
knights.
I'll try. I've got all my in the off knights, but anyone else?
Are
I'll
any
do
of you
the same.
calling up knights that would otherwise have been assigned to defending your castles?
Nope.
Okay.
Castles.
Well, some of them do have
Yeah, I know.
castles.
Yeah, I already got all those knights.
Oh, you were already riding with them?
Yeah, I'm bringing all of my knights.
Aidwald, are you bringing all of your castle knights as well?
I didn't have any castle knights. I was using my peasant levies for my castle.
She gave you 3 manors for it. Because,
just to defend your castle. 3 knights who were assigned only to defense. Did you already call them up? It's fine if you did. I think
I already did.
Okay, so you're just leaving peasants behind. Not that that's a thing. I just making a note. Not that it'll ever be used against you immediately. But yeah, you're basically emptying Salisbury out, which is fine. You're going to war. That's a thing you do when you're going to war.
I emptied my supplies. Yes.
All right. How long do you want to wait for the messenger to go out and come back? And of course, I don't think you brought your siege specialist with you, right? You have to send for him now.
I did, because I thought we sent for him right before we were going against that first castle.
Yeah, so he hasn't arrived yet, I think, but he will at some point soon.
No, he did, because he came back at the same time that all of my armsmen came.
Oh, okay, all right. So how long do you guys want to wait for this recruiting message to get there and back? It's only about 2 or 3 days' ride. But remember, they'll have to ride down, send the message. The message will have to go to all the outlying manors. Those people have to come back to Salisbury, arm up, and ride to Uffington.
Let me look at my healing rate real quick.
You're like, it should take exactly as long as it takes for me to get back to full health.
No, that would take too long anyway.
Does 2 weeks sound right to you guys?
Yeah,
at least.
That's probably long enough for them to get back there and back.
At least.
Okay. Just remember, you can only call your sovereign knights to 40 days of war. So 2 weeks is, you're about 20 days in.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're making sort of a lightning strike, so if we don't do it then, we're kind of giving up on the siege anyway. So.
Okay. Are you undergoing the plan to raid all those manors?
Why don't we do that while we're waiting for them to show up?
Okay.
That seems kind of a productive use of our time.
Does
that sound right to you guys?
Yeah.
So before you go, the Countess is like, is there any chance that I could dissuade you from attacking those manors?
If it is your desire, we shall.
If we do have the underground tunnel, then we don't really need the resources as much.
Yes. So if it is your desire that we desist, we shall, my lady.
It is merely that some of the knights who do not fall in the battle will have to return home and swear loyalty back to me, and I would not wish them to be embittered against Salisbury. I have some minor reports, very minor. A few peasants were upset by your actions, but nothing that I would consider untowards. I would not want the peasantry of Ridichan turned against the knights of Salisbury.
All right, well, we shall make our ascent, I guess.
So you're not going to go raid a huge amount of manors? Okay.
Don't think so.
Her request, we won't.
All right, so...
Because she has another path in anyway, so it sounds like the battle won't be determined by siege as much.
Yeah, if it was going to be determined by siege, we would, but since we don't need to.
And she warns against it.
Now, you guys have already pre-bought siege equipment, right? You bought 6 points worth of siege?
Yeah, only 6 points.
All right.
My 1 pound.
So, let me get the numbers here. You guys had... Alright, Marcus is gone. So, let me get everybody here. You guys didn't have anybody die in that battle, right?
Nobody died.
Yeah, nobody died.
Well, except the brothers.
Right.
Yeah.
And one guy on their side. Okay, so you have... Aidwald has 3. Corin has 6. Sasha has 3. So you guys together are bringing 12 knights.